And on today's show, why foreign nationals married to American citizens could be the way to advertise your practice. Part 5 of this week's series on the foreign national market in America with foreign national expert and certified financial planner, Carrie Rakovich. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial economist and contributing author to InsMark, LifeSpecs, and Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to day 5, Carrie.
Nice. Thanks, Steve.
I'm pretty excited about this day because we have done these shows. I'm going to guess that most of our advisors watching the show, this is brand new information. And everybody's saying, Steve, this sounds like a niche I might want to explore. The cases are rather large. They're more voluminous than we thought. And I may be able to use this as maybe a key advertising out on the web to try to drive traffic into my practice because nobody's doing it that much. It's really a niche market. Well, I don't want to say nobody. A lot of people are doing it, but not at our scale of the size of our advisors. Right. Now, I noticed that, when we're talking about married couples, foreign, U.S. citizen, I saw this in your very affectionate way. You said this. You said, love knows no boundaries, right?
Right.
Okay, so you said U.S. citizens like to marry non-U.S. citizens. I thought it would have been the other way around. They just want to get into the country. They'd want to marry. But you're saying many U.S. citizens. Now, have you noticed a mix? Is it more women than men?
No, it's citizens? Across the board.
It's across the board.
Yes.
So people visit lands. They're on vacation. They meet Miss or Mr. Wonderful, and they decide to get married. And they know all the hassles that go with it, including the citizenship, the visa issues, right. And they're still, because love knows no hassle, and they just want to go through the bureaucracy to get through it. All right, so I'm imagining. But this happens. Now, when we're talking about this, in your practice of everything you see, we're talking about one niche area because it sounds like it's pretty big.
Right.
How big is this where U.S. citizens are marrying non-U.S. citizens in your practice with foreign nationals?
It's huge. It's
just huge.
It's huge. I don't have the numbers, but I mean, this is a very large market this is going to be in the United States. They're here, living here, married to us. And that's a huge potential because of the loss of the unlimited marital deduction.
I'm just staggered by how big this market is. I mean, I feel like I have been asleep at the wheel for 30 years after hearing everything we've talked about this week. Now, we've been talking about, QDOT and exclusions and exemptions and the pathetic 60,000 for people who are not U.S. citizens.
Right.
Okay, but now you talk about this thing called the super annual exclusion. Talk a little bit about that. That caught my eye when I was reading your brief.
So the super annual exclusion is think about there's no unlimited marital transfers. For me, if I'm married to a non-U.S. citizen, I'm not able to just gift unlimited amounts to my spouse. If I was married to a U.S. citizen, unlimited marital transfers during life or at death. So there's a limitation here. Now the IRS gives us, the annual exclusion, $14,000, which my colleague calls the amount that doesn't count. I love that because you can give the $14,000, as much as you want to anyone, and you don't have to worry about gift taxes. So what the IRS has given to those who want to gift to their non-U.S. spouse is a super annual exclusion, if you will. And for 2014, it's $145,000. So that U.S. spouse can make a transfer to the non-U.S. spouse of $145,000 a year.
I have to say, many people know that I am a contributing author to Backroom Technician. I remember nothing on this. So this must be a very stealth law buried in the code somewhere, because I have to say, this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah. So a lot of folks, until they get into planning in this arena, don't even realize that transfers to a non-U.S. citizen spouse could be limited because we assume unlimited transfers to a spouse.
So I'm just assuming the $145,000, the super exclusion, annual exclusion. Now, how long has it been around? For a little while?
For a long time, yes.
And it has been indexing to inflation as well? Oh, it has?
That's correct.
Oh, right. So it's been picking it up. Wow.
That's correct.
So U.S. citizen dies first. We talked about this earlier in the week. With this exclusion can help kind of, take the edge off the taxable amount that's going to be there. I mean, this really can help quite a bit.
It really can. It can help in two ways, Steve. First of all, it gives you the opportunity to begin to transfer assets to that non-U.S. citizen spouse. So if it's our U.S. citizen who's the wealthier spouse, and we need to do a little bit of equalization so that maybe we don't have to go into that QDOT planning, hey, let's use this superannual exclusion and see what we can get gifted out of the estate. So that's one way you can use it. Now, the way that I like to see it used is as, let's gift that to the spouse and let the spouse buy the life insurance on our U.S. citizen. It's also a way to get the premium dollars
So are you
over to that
you're funding the premium with the exclusion?
Exactly.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
And $145,000 can fund a really nice life insurance policy on the U.S. citizen spouse to take care of the fact that there's no unlimited marital deduction at that spouse's death.
Well, I'm amazed because you said this is a huge brand. I mean, there are a lot of U.S. citizens that are marrying foreign nationals. This is a untapped market. I can't believe I haven't heard about this in all the time I've been in the business. We get back from the break. We're going to just follow us up. We're going to kind of summarize the week and talk about why this could be such an impact for you. I think social media on this could be huge. We'll be right back after the commercial. It's not how much money you make for your clients, it's how much money they get to keep, especially in retirement. But retirement income could cause Social Security benefits to be taxed. One tax advantage alternative is life insurance designed as a non-modified endowment contract that can generate tax-free income without taxing Social Security benefits. These contracts offer differing funding options depending upon your client's risk tolerance. For more information on how life insurance can be part of your retirement planning, just email me at steve@downtobusiness.tv. Brought to you by Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to our second segment. Of course, we're with certified financial planner Carrie Rakovich. Carrie, his forte is in this whole foreign national market. It is a huge market. And gosh, I started out the week thinking this is niche. This is bigger than I thought, especially in our first segment. You know, we've been dropping QDOT all day long, but there are some drawbacks here.
Yes.
Okay, let's make sure we do full disclosure and talk about some of the drawbacks of the planning in foreign national market.
Yes. So QDOT planning, sometimes it's a necessary evil. And what we're talking about here is when you've got the U.S. citizen spouse who's got assets above and beyond whatever the annual exemption is, the $5.34 million this year, and those assets will be transferred to their non-U.S. citizen spouse. Since there's no unlimited marital deduction to transfer those assets without taxes to the non-U.S. citizen spouse, possibly that QDOT comes into play. Now, a QDOT, once the transfer to the QDOT itself reaches a certain asset level, it's about the $2 million mark, it now requires that you have, a U.S. corporate trustee or a bonded trustee. It's always got to be a U.S. trustee. Basically, it's a way to lock those assets here in the U.S. until the estate taxes are paid. So that surviving non-U.S. citizen spouse can take the income without any additional tax. Again, like we said earlier, they can take, distributions for health, education, maintenance, support. But if they dig into that principle for any reason other than one of those hardship reasons, immediately it's taxed at the highest tax rate for estate taxes.
So it's not graduated.
It's not graduated.
It's the highest tax.
Yeah, because it's already above that $5.34 million for that first spouse's death.
So it's the maximum number now, and you have strategies and tactics to try to defend against that.
Yes.
Now, do you have information that on things like this, on the QDOT and things like that, that are actually ready to go for advisors?
Absolutely.
Listen, any of the things we've talked about this week, if whatever Carrie has, I'm happy to send it on to you. Just write me and my email address, and I'll be happy to do so.
Absolutely.
Let me talk about, and I don't want to get into too shameless plug for your company Trans, but you came here and thank you very much. But you guys have a lot of brochures and a lot of tactical support material that I think is really huge and really will help introduce our advisors into it.
Yes.
Now, if I'm Steve Savant, I know nothing about this market, but I'm intrigued. I think there's some exotic play here for foreigners. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So let's say I want to start and dip my toe in. What would be your recommendation, Carrie? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm living in a metro area where I know there's a lot of foreign nationals. What's my first step?
First step,
Yeah.
review your book of business. Are you sure that all of your folks are U.S. citizens? Because maybe there's some additional planning that needs to happen right there, especially when you find that situation where we've got the non-U.S. citizen married to a U.S. citizen.
Well, let me stop you. If I have a foreign national, could they have a Social Security number?
Absolutely.
But not still be a resident?
That's correct.
Oh, so there are issues.
That's
so
correct.
I might
So
have
you
just
may not
blown by
even
that.
realize. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's always step one, is to go back and just review. Hey, do we have any of this right here in front of us? And then, where we find a lot of this business is if you look around the neighborhood. Is there a major university, a hospital, like a research hospital? Great place. Is there an employer who's looking for folks with the H-1B visa? That's that specialty occupation visa, which is for hard to fill technical jobs. Those folks get to come over, and typically that visa is for a 3-year period. So sometimes you can find like pockets there in engineering, usually like the STEM is what you'll find. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
That's a huge possibility for us to begin to troll and prospect on that. Many of us have connections on the very area you did. So let's say we find all that. We have that. We've discovered that. We've went through our book of business, and now we're doing your STEM strategy.
Yeah.
Now, how do I begin? Now, I start making calls on, how do I do that, I guess?
How do you do that?
Yeah, how does an advisor, you know these advisors, how are they introducing themselves into this market? It's not a natural market.
It's not a natural market, but once you kind of get the intricacies and some of the tax nuances, then you know how to position it. So realizing that, folks who are living here in the United States who are not U.S. citizens, first of all, realizing that it's their worldwide assets that will be pulled in, not just what they own here. Start digging in when you find those non-U.S. citizens. Do you have assets in another land? Sometimes there's homes around the globe that can cause a U.S. estate tax situation. And then the other big opportunity is those non-resident aliens. When you find someone here who's got assets here in the U.S., but they don't live here in the U.S. and they're not a U.S. citizen, that $60,000 exemption, that hurts.
Does your team and or even your supporting carrier trans, do they have a seminar on all this?
We do this seminar quite a bit. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, so I think we need to do this as a follow-up workshop. I think there's going to be a lot of people really interested in this. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just hop out to our video archives. And remember, you could be wiser as an educated advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you next week.